Hey, welcome to episode 3 of the Portal 2 mapping series. Today, we're just going to be doing exactly what we did last week. In exactly the same format. Let's go! Okay, so before we add some more puzzle elements to our map, in order to do that, we need to be able to manipulate the geometry of our basic boxy room that we created in the first episode. Now, it's kind of impossible to do that at the moment because, let's say, if I wanted to create a hole in the ceiling, select the selection tool, click on the ceiling, and oh no, it selected the entire room. That's obviously not what we want. Now, the reason why it's doing this is because, remember, this used to be one giant block that we hollowed out. So obviously Hammer will treat that as a giant hollowed out block. It won't necessarily split the floor, the walls and the ceiling into individual brushes. But this isn't actually the correct way of making rooms or levels in Hammer because there's not a lot you can do with hollowed out boxes. So all I want you to do is just select the entire room with the selection tool and press delete on your keyboard. So let's go and recreate this room manually, which is what most mappers do, and it's what I do as well. So first of all, let's just get our wall texture that we used before. Select the block tool, and let's start off by drawing a wall. And I remember it was 256 units high, so let's press enter to create it, and let's do the same on the other side. Now, you could do the same thing on the other two sides, but here's a little tip. First of all, hold Control on your keyboard and select the two walls. Control allows you to select multiple objects at once. Then, in the top 2D view, hold Shift and drag out the two walls to another part of your map. Let go of it, and there you go. Hammer has created an exact clone of our two walls. Then, move it back to its original location. And while it's selected, click on it again, and the white boxes suddenly change to these 4 black circles. And if you click on one of them and move your mouse around, it will rotate these two pieces of geometry right here, these two walls. And if we rotate it like so, we've now perfectly aligned it to the other two sides. Now, if for whatever reason it's rotating freely and not snapping to the grid, that's probably because you missed something out that I did in the first tutorial. But don't worry, I'll show you how to fix it. So click on Tools, Options, 2D Views, and make sure you click on Default to 15-degree rotations, and you should be good to go. Now for the floor and the ceiling. Now, rather than just using the same texture, I'm going to be slightly interesting and grab a nice floor texture, just so I don't use a wall texture with the floor, because that's kind of weird. So let's just draw out a giant square in the top view, and it was 64 units high. Let's move it below our character and press enter. And using the same trick that we used before, hold shift, drag it upwards, and we have a ceiling. Now, we can't have a floor texture for the ceiling, so let's change it to a ceiling texture. And one thing I forgot to mention, if you want to apply a texture to a current brush, just hit the apply current texture tool, and there you go, you should be good to go. So now we have a room that looks much better than before. We have a much larger variety of textures, and we can select each individual wall, floor or ceiling. So now we can get into the fun stuff. Yay! So obviously, if you play a Portal 2 map, you'll probably have a portal gun. So to do this, fairly easy, select the entity tool, click somewhere in your level, press Alt Enter or double click on it, and change it to a weapon underscore portal gun. Hit apply. Now what I like to do is place it directly inside the player so the player spawns with the portal gun. Now, if we load up the settings here, you don't need to change any of the other settings right here, but here are some settings you can change. So first of all, you can select if you want to create blue portals, yes or no, or orange portals, we'll say red portals. It's obviously not red, it's orange, everyone knows that. You can also select if you want the GLaDOS potato to be on your portal gun. That'd be pretty funny if you did. The starting team, you can have it on single player or the cooperative mode, Atlas or Peabody mode. But I'm just going to keep everything as default. So save it, run your map, and there we go. We have a portal gun that can shoot both blue and orange portals. We can go through them. It works just the same as usual. And yeah, now another thing you might want to add, or change really for my case, is the different cube types. So in the last video, we just created a simple storage cube, but you know, there are many different types of cubes in Portal 2. So to change the cube that you already have in your level, double click on it, go over here where it says use new skins, change it to yes, because we do want to use the new skins, and then go over here to cube type and change it to whatever you like. I'm going to change it to a companion cube, hit apply, save, run your map. And there we go, we've got a companion cube in our level, and if we pick it up, we've got this kind of cool electrical effect from our portal gun, and it should just work all the same. Now, this next puzzle element can get a bit tricky, but I will try to explain it as best as I can. So, you know, if you play a Portal 2 map, and there are cubes in it, there'll more than likely be some cube droppers. Now, to do this, fairly difficult. First of all, you got to delete your cube. Select the entity tool once again, click somewhere in your level, press Alt Enter, and change it to a func underscore instance. Now, a func underscore instance is basically just another word for a prefab. So a prefab is basically like you're grabbing something from somewhere else and you're putting it inside your level. And I'll show you this right now. First of all, change the fix-up name to whatever you like. I'm going to call this box underscore dropper, like so. And the VMF file name, well, this is going to take a while because you've got to type a lot of text in here. So all you got to type in is instances slash gameplay slash cube underscore dropper underscore multiple underscore normal dot VMF. So basically what it's doing is it's going into this file directory, it's grabbing this VMF file, and if you don't know what a VMF file name is, it's basically a map file. It's in the name. This is a map file, and so what it's doing is it's grabbing that map file, putting it in this map, and basically it's hard to explain. Hope I explain it well. So hit apply, and there we go. So if we drag this upwards like so, and there we go, we have a cube dropper. Right now we have a little bit of a problem at the moment because, you know, we need a hole for the cube to drop down into this area, and currently there's a ceiling blocking it. So what we've got to do, I'm going to have to teach you a new tool, and this tool is called the clipping tool. So right now we want to cut that little section of our ceiling. Now, you know, this grid size isn't exactly what I want, so to change the grid size, let's go over here and select these two plus and minus buttons. This button will decrease the grid size and this one will increase it. So I want this to be at a 32 grid size. As you can see, it says snap on grid 32. If I increase it, actually I'm going to use the square brackets. Good handy shortcut. As you can see, on grid 64, on grid 32, on grid 16, goes up to, I believe it goes up to 512. And there we go. What I'm going to do with the clipping tool selected is draw out a line like so. Now this red part will be deleted and this part will be preserved. And if we click it again, it will flip those two sides. So this part will be deleted and this part will be kept. And if we click on it again, both parts will be kept. If you press enter, it will split this ceiling into two individual parts. Now, select the clipping tool again and draw another line. Press enter and do this again, like so. Press enter and we want this part. And for this final part, I'm actually gonna destroy this part. So, like so, make sure it's highlighted in red. Press enter. And there we go, we've created a little hole for our cube to fall down in. Now I would like this to be circular, but doing circular holes is a bit difficult in Hammer, so a square hole should be just fine. Now one thing you might want to do is have a button so you can activate this dropper. So select the entity tool, press somewhere in your level, press Alt Enter, change it to a prop underscore button. And we're going to use the output tab again. So all you got to do is click on outputs, and what we're going to do is click on add, click on pressed. We want to select our box dropper that we named, and we want this to trigger. This means that when the button is pressed, the box dropper will trigger its opening animation and it should drop the cube. If we already had a cube in our room, that's already been given to us. If we press the button again, it should dissolve that cube and put it back in its original spawn point. Now to do that, copy and paste it and change it to enable. So there we go. Let's save our map, run it, and oh, everything's a bit dark. Now I know. Now if everything looks dark at the moment, that's because we actually have a light entity in our level, and we'll get to light entities in another tutorial. But to fix this problem, go into the developer console by pressing the key underneath escape and type in mapped underscore full bright 1. And there we go, we're back to where we were before with no lighting. So if we press this button, the dropper should activate the cube, and if we place it on the button, the door should open. However, if we press the button again, the cube should dissolve and give us another one. In fact, if you head over to the Valve developer community, there's many different types of cube droppers you can have. You can have one that spawns companion cubes, you can have ones that spawn antique cubes from the Cave Johnson era, or you can have droppers that don't even drop cubes, they can drop like different gels and things like that. So the link will be in the description below. Now another funk instance you can create in your level is a fizzler or an emancipation grill, whatever you want to call it. So select the entity tool, click somewhere in your level, press Alt Enter or double click on it and change it to once again a funk underscore instance. Hit apply. The fix up name, we don't really need to call this anything, but do you know what, just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to call this fizzler underscore grid. Hit apply. Now the VMF file name, once again, it's a long one. So you go to instances /gameplay /fizzler underscore, and this can be black or white. So I'm going to select this to black and then underscore, and this can be clean or dirty. I'm going to set it to clean. What did I do? Oh no. Underscore black underscore clean. This can be clean or dirty, and 128 by 128.vmf. Hit apply, and lots of crazy stuff should happen, and you should get an emancipation grill. And if we run our map, let's say if we create some portals right here and walk through our emancipation grill, it should refresh our portal gun. And let's grab a cube real quick, and if we throw this through the emancipation grill, it should dissolve. Oh, that was pretty cool. But yeah, it works just like a regular fizzler. Now the last thing we're going to add in this tutorial is a laser shooter and a laser catcher, because they're fairly common in Portal 2. So to do this, select the entity tool once again, click somewhere in your level, press Alt Enter and change it to a ENV portal laser. Hit apply. So I'm going to move it to here and move it upwards. I'm actually going to adjust the grid size so it fits perfectly on our floor and decrease it again so it's flush with our wall. And there's some Z fighting, so we're going to use the clipping tool once again, and let's draw out some lines. Sorry, I'm going a bit quickly here, but that's what happens when you're super good at the clipping tool. No, I'm not that great. And let's move this backwards. And there's a leak in our level so far, so we can't have anything exposed to this void, otherwise that will be a leak and our map won't compile. We'll get to leaks in another tutorial, but to solve this problem, just for now, let's drag our floor so it fills that hole for us. And obviously, what we need to do is create a laser catcher. So let's create another entity, and change it to a prop laser catcher. And let's move that over here. Now, one more thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add another cube. Allow new skins, yes. Change it to a reflective cube. And it's in the ground, so obviously we need to lift this up a little bit. And while we're here, let's just rotate the player so it can face the door. So the player should start facing actual things rather than facing a completely different direction. Actually, last thing I'm going to do in this tutorial is double click on this laser catcher. And we want, when we activate this laser catcher, we want to open that door. So click on add, on powered. We want to open the door. So door open. Copy, paste, and on unpowered, we want the door to close, and there we go. Now, if we run our map for the very last time, first of all, let's fix the lighting problem. And here we have a laser, so if you shoot a portal here, and shoot a portal there we go. We've activated the laser catcher, and the door should open. And also, this should work, you know, if we grab our cube, should work just the same. Ow, ow. Ow. And that's it for this tutorial. I know it was a goddamn long one, and I made a gazillion mistakes, which I'll have to edit out, otherwise you'll guys see me as a massive goofball. But anyway, in the next tutorial, we'll be talking about indicator lights, which, if you don't know what they are, well, I'll talk about them in the next tutorial. So yeah, thank you for watching, and goodbye. God, that was a long one.